Okay, so it's 6:32. We're gonna get the meeting going. Will, could you do me a favor and just click out of the, just so that's off the screen? Awesome, thanks. So it's 6:32. We're gonna call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Montgomery Selectboard. It is September 18th. And just so folks joining know, we have switched, so we don't have the screen behind us. We do have a TV off to our right, so we can see all of you, and you can see us in the camera, but just so you know, it's not on screen behind us anymore, but we can still see you on the screen, and we can hear you. I'd like to welcome back Mr. Letourneau. It's been a while. I was getting worried. First order of business, as always, is to review and make any changes to the agenda. First order of business is to do that. Are there any changes to be made to the agenda?
I have none.
Okay. And I do just want to double check one more time. Those of you online can hear us, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. Thank you. All right, next up is the review and approval of the minutes of the September 4th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 4th as written.
Yeah, I think all of us wrote that one. Yep. So we have a motion from Mark to approve the minutes of September 4th as written. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Leanne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. Moving on to Public Works. First up here is VTrans Grant Amendment GA0365. Mark, this was the email that you sent.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a quick synopsis of what this is?
Did you have it with the agreement?
I don't have it printed, but I do have a copy of it.
Okay, I forgot to print. Yeah, I didn't print it out.
Okay, I can get us a copy by the end of the meeting, I think, to print.
All it was the FY23. They had an amendment to the agreement we signed a while ago. So it's just a matter of signing it so we can get reimbursed.
Okay, so this was this was the FY23 grants and aid. This was for $31,000.
Is that for the Hill West?
It doesn't actually say on here specifically.
I think it does somewhere.
I only saw it. Maybe it does somewhere else, but this is just so this is a grant agreement or a grant amendment.
FY23 is it Better Back Roads? It's
this just says it's an amendment to the grant agreement dated October 13th, 2022. The grant award detail is hereby deleted and replaced in its entirety with revised part 1, which is the second page, which reflects that
this is the Hill West project
for $31,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which we've completed and.
Okay, so this is just to get that reimbursement going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm working with Bethany and I think Madeline from Northwest Regional Planning to get our reimbursements done.
Okay.
So we can get them sent in for that project and Black Falls. So
okay, great.
We can get reimbursed.
Then I guess what we would need is a motion to adopt the grant agreement as amended.
So I'll make a motion to adopt the grant agreement GA0365 amendment.
Great. Is there a second?
Hill West project.
I'll second.
We have a second from Suzanne. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries and you've adopted the amendment to the award. So I can just sign that and get it back to her. If
Okay.
you want. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is the Longley Bridge Road Trout River work. Just an update. I don't know if you've been by to talk to them.
I went and looked at it, Sunday, but looks like it's coming along well. I mean, we got an email today that there's going to be more material needed because I think we lost like 15 or 20 feet more of that riverbank since we approved the project, so, in just the last couple months. So there was gonna be a amendment to the, they're gonna take more material to finish the project, so.
Okay.
But they're going in the same scope of works as what we approved.
Okay,
So I saw that come through today from Dean.
great.
As far as they're getting it done, it looks good. So, it looks like the timeline's good too, so. They did find some material finally from St. Ange's Pit, the stone they needed, the
Good.
ledge. So they were having trouble finding some, but they found some there, so I see St. Ange's helping them haul it around.
Truck it around.
Truck it around
Yeah.
for them, so. No, it looks like that's coming along pretty good,
Good.
yeah.
Sorry, there's somebody trying to join the meeting and they're having trouble. Did you? Okay, awesome. Anything else on the Longley Bridge project?
No. Well, there was one thing. I mean, they moved all their equipment in there, and then over the weekend, the first weekend they were here, somebody stole a bunch of fuel out of their equipment. So that was not too nice.
Seriously, they
Yeah.
had like
Like
siphoned
70
fuel?
gallons of fuel they siphoned out of their equipment.
What?
So they came in on Monday, and so now they're trying to park some stuff over at our garage. So that and they went, yeah. And that's why people are posting land and keeping people off their property. Because
Yeah.
then we got a bunch of street signs missing. I don't know if you noticed the one right on the corner here for Hazen's Notch is gone.
Is it gone?
Yeah, that one's gone. And then the Gibu one was knocked down, but it was
So
back
they were
up.
both knocked down
And then-
before I reached out to
Yes.
you.
And then Dreamer Road is gone. I
they
think.
must have come
So
back.
their signs, signs disappeared again. Road signs. So, yes. So,
Great.
Yeah, I noticed those two were knocked down the same
yeah,
night, and then I had sent you that
yeah,
message that they were down.
yeah. And then
And they
by
must
the time
have-
by
yeah,
the
they
time I
must have
got
been-
there, it was gone.
Yep.
Yeah. But
Okay.
these are two signs on two posts. I mean, right in town here. I mean, this is right by
really
Teresa
happy.
Begnash's.
Yeah.
It's gone. Yeah. So they had to cut the top of two posts to get it off. And
That's crazy. Like, who has the? I mean, you gotta
mean,
bring like equipment.
I
to
could
do
see
that?
on the outskirts of town, but now they're moving right into town. So,
Yeah. Well.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So just giving you an update.
Yeah. Great.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, we can let law enforcement know, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they can do too much about it. All right. The last item up here under Public Works, this is related to the road off of Hill West Extension that gets into the Deep Gibu. Oh my God.
Let somebody trying to get in.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Click agenda.
Is this Josh?
On the
This
first.
is it.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm gonna stop texting you, Josh, since you're here. All right, awesome. So this next item relates to the Class 4 road, excuse me, that goes off of Hill West Extension down into the Deep Gibu, what we've been calling the Deep Gibu Class 4 road, although I don't know if that's formally its name or not.
Yeah.
This is the road that we had a meeting, a hearing on back in the spring, was it?
Yeah.
There was a request to throw the road up, and we went through the process to address that request, and we denied it. So what has happened in the last few weeks or a month is that the landowner put new panels on the bridge because there were no panels. It was basically rotting particle board and some 2x4s. He pulled those, put panels down. He then completed a pretty large scope of work on the property, getting roads and trails upgraded in advance of the logging operation that he wants to do. Talking to the landowner, what happened was he got the work done. He put a sign up at the end of the Class 4 road that said, end of class 4 road, no motorized traffic, hunting, fishing, hiking, all welcome. Motorized traffic went around the sign and up into the property. He then took 2 concrete blocks that he's going to be using as abutments for another ridge they're putting in and put those in the class 4 road at the end of it, basically
Where his property starts.
where his property starts.
Yeah.
So he's blocking the end of the road. According to the landowner, basically the ATV traffic just went around the concrete blocks through the ditch and up into the property. At which point he instructed the loggers that he was working with to pull the bridge panels on their way out of the property to limit motorized vehicle access in there. So I am, sensitive and cognizant to damage to private property. Building woods roads myself, I know how sensitive they are to damage, especially right after they're constructed. So I definitely see Ethan's perspective. We do have a class 4 town road and trail agreement with him. And in front of everybody is a copy of the policy as well as the agreement itself.
Yeah.
And so tonight, what I was hoping to discuss and get some clarity on is what onus is on the landowner regarding maintenance of that bridge. So as a refresher, class 4 roads that did not have year-round residents on them at the time of the policy adoption are not maintained by the town. There's a number of those in the community that are still mapped as class 4 roads. No one lives on them, so we do not touch them. And those conditions of those range from completely blown out to still pretty passable. That was one of the ones that has no dwelling on it, which is why we didn't do any work specifically around doing anything to that bridge. The class 4 road trail agreement that we signed with 30 Acres Woodlands LLC. This is Ethan, property owner, reflects the scope of work as being minor touch-ups on the surface of Deep Gibu Class 4 road from Hill West Road. To its extent within my property, this may include removing problem rocks and addition of small amounts of material in key spots as needed. 2, brushing back the edges of the class 4 road from my boundary through its extent within my property. 3, removal of current bridge decking and replacement with panels.
So he did agree to replace it with the panels.
Yes. So I guess the question is, what level of maintenance of those panels is the town required to, should the town require the landowner to do on that bridge? We've never come up with a situation like this before. Typically these agreements are around grading with the periodic culvert replacement.
Yeah.
This is actually related to the maintenance of the bridge. And so that's the question that I'd like to get back to the landowner with after tonight.
I would say at the minimum, if you could at least fix it so at least people could walk across, maybe not get vehicles, ATVs and stuff across, but at least they could.
Therefore, it's a town road, it's town accessible. It needs to be fixed. If somebody was to get hurt on that road, the town would be sued.
Hey, Josh, can you, I don't know if you're talking to us or not, or if you're talking to someone else in the room. If you're talking to somebody else, if you could just mute for a second, we will.
Sorry, I didn't know you could hear me.
No, it's fine. Just so we'll go to folks in the audience in a minute. But in the meantime,
It looks like Larry has something as well.
yeah, I see Larry's hand. I'm just gonna let Mark finish his thought and then get any other thoughts from the board, and then we'll go to folks in the room or on the screen.
So that was my thought, if we can at least get it back to, just so people can walk across it, maybe not motorized vehicles, and then he'll put the panels back on when he does the logging up there. But I can understand, the vehicle, ATVs and stuff going up there and causing problems. But I'd like to see it still, but people could at least walk across and still walk through there, you get across that way, because I know a lot of people go up there to do that. And if he's still all right with that. But,
the property is in conservation, is that correct?
The property is located in the conservation district, if that's what you're asking.
Is it in land trust?
There is a conservation easement on the property.
Right,
yeah.
and so I think that he needs to ensure that there is pedestrian access. I think that is part of that agreement. Is that true?
I don't know.
Is that true in all?
Yeah.
I don't have the easement. I don't have a copy of the easement. It's recorded in the town clerk's office. Anybody can go look at it. Different iterations of easements do have different requirements for public access. I don't know what level would be required in this one. From my knowledge of the standard VLT easement language, my guess is at the most it would be allowing non-motorized public access. But I don't know the wording of that or how that would work.
But as far as the other work he did down there, it looks good. I mean, he did cut the brush back and, you know, got the road fixed back up. And so, I mean, that part looks good.
Okay.
I mean, he stayed behind that part. Yeah.
I would say that since the property itself does not allow motorized traffic and there's no houses beyond the bridge, that a pedestrian access would be the maximum he would really be required as far as town access, right?
Yeah, I do want to separate out like the conservation easement angle here because
I'm not talking about
Yeah.
conservation easement, I'm just saying his posting as a private property owner was, you can come on my property, just not on a motorized vehicle, right?
yeah,
So, I mean, he has a right as a property owner to delegate how people use his land and in what fashion.
yeah.
So he's delegated that stipulation. So since there's no houses, wouldn't that mean that it's essentially, I mean, if we have fourth class roads that are completely blown out and impassable, and he's at least making it pedestrian accessible, that seems like it would be the bare, you know, like meeting all the requirements of what would be expected.
Yeah, I guess that's the question that we're trying to wrestle with is what is the expectation there? Any other thoughts at the table before I go to folks on the screen?
No.
Okay, so we'll turn to folks on the screen at this point. Larry, I did see your hand up first, so we'll go to you and then we'll go to Josh.
Yeah, that is capable of pedestrian traffic right now. The steel beams are still in place. Only the top was removed. The steel beams are still in place. People can walk across those. You don't have to be a tightrope walker to do it. I do understand the owner's situation, especially with the wet conditions we got this year. And based on the fact that the town, when we had the meeting in the spring, you as the chair, Charlie, told us that the town was not responsible for that infrastructure repair. But the same token, I don't know how you can force the landowner to have that repaired as for motorized traffic any more than you can force me to replace culverts, frankly.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's all.
Okay, thanks, Larry.
Larry, can I ask you, you've been and you've seen the bridge and it seems that at this point, like pedestrian access is available?
Absolutely. It is available. You can walk across the beams. Maybe some people need railings. It is not handicapped accessible. You wouldn't be able to go across it with a wheelchair or anything, but by foot you could very easily. I walked across it yesterday.
Okay. Thanks, Larry.
Yep.
Also, I want to talk to you about that sweatshirt
Yeah.
where I can get one.
Seriously.
I'll sell you this one for a lot of money. I didn't get a sass, you know.
It's true. It's
I'm working on it, Larry.
the cleaners.
Yeah, I heard that a year ago.
Well, I'm not a good seamstress. It's taking time.
All right. So next up, I saw Josh wanted to weigh in. So Josh, we'll go to you next.
Okay. So my understanding with class 4 roads is you can't downgrade a class 4 road. And it's a class 4 road past the bridge, correct?
The designation of the road has not changed, so it still is a class 4 road.
Okay. So at one time it was done. It was dead, right? The bridge died. But when the landholder rebuilt the bridge, he cannot take the bridge back out. That's against the law of the road.
May I interrupt just slightly?
That's
That
downgrading a
is not a
road.
class 4 road but past the bridge. It is a unmaintained road or trail.
Larry, Larry, the town.
And if you look at the map, the V-Trans map, it tells you that.
I just sent it, Larry. And as far as the landowner says himself, he posted it himself 50 feet past the bridge that the class 4 road ends there. And then you're correct, Larry, there's a legal trail that goes from the end of the class 4 road to the first landing. And that is also public access for hunting, fishing, for ATVs, for anybody that's legalized to be on a public road has right to be on all them roads. It's part of a town thing. Yeah, it's a state thing. I got that off the Vermont DOT website. They sent Charlie the map, actually.
I'm sorry, you said you sent me a map?
Yeah, I just sent you a map in your thing of the road. And it's unmaintained, like Larry says, 50 feet past the bridge to the first landing, which is all town right away. Anybody with a bicycle, anybody with a motorcycle, anybody with a car can drive on them roads. And if somebody was to get hurt now because they took that bridge out and the select board isn't forcing the landowner to put the bridge back, somebody's going to get sued. Somebody's going to get hurt. The bridge was there, it was fixed, now it's not. What? Somebody could talk to their lawyers about it when somebody gets killed. I mean, you figure that part out.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, to your point about can the landowner pull the panels off, I think is...
Landowners cannot shut down a private, public highway. It's against the rules, the same reason you can't close down 58. You only can put a sign up.
Yeah, but 58's a traveled corridor that we maintain because there's houses on it. So I'm thinking about a comparable would be like the class 4 road that connects, say, the Gibu over to the old Soden property, or Dreamers Road that connects over to like Purrier Farm Road. Like those are both class 4 roads. We haven't done a lick of work on them in decades. So those are similar status roads in terms of us not doing any maintenance on them. The designation hasn't changed, so they're still legal class 4 roads. Mm-hmm. But with our policy, we're not obligated to do anything with them, which is why the town hadn't done anything to that bridge in years. And honestly, like in my opinion, the bridge was more unsafe as it was than without decking, just because that decking provided kind of a veil of safety that really wasn't there. So I think the nut of this lies in if we give the landowner a maintenance agreement to maintain the bridge and structures, does that give the landowner the right to remove a structure if the class 4 road does not service any houses or dwellings?
I understand you can't downgrade a road.
Yeah, so again, nobody downgraded the road. It's still a class 4 road.
And also the towns are responsible for bridges and bridges on class 4 roads. Look it up. They're not responsible for the gravel, but they're responsible for the culverts and the bridges. Not the maintenance of the road or the plowing of the road.
Yeah.
So probably Purrier's Road could be forced in too if they wanted someone to force it.
So I've always gone by our policy, which basically states that at the time of adoption, if there's no one living on that road, we're not going to do anything to it. I don't know about state statutes regarding the maintenance of structures on roads.
I think it's even more lenient than this.
I am happy to look into statute to clarify this more in terms of what the legal obligation of the town is.
I think that would probably be good.
I want to go, Gabby, did you have anything to jump in here on, or are you just listening?
I mean, I'm listening. I'm a little bit confused about how not. I haven't been down there today, so it sounds like Larry's been down there more recently than me, and as has Heidi. And it sounds like he maybe removed like the things that were blocking off the bridge. I mean, no, he didn't.
No,
you have to walk.
He removed the beams are still left there, the cross beams, but there's no.
I mean, the thing that was like in front of like blocking off, said road closed,
that was
bridge
still
closed,
there.
bridge out.
I went down on Saturday and it was still there. Yeah.
Okay, but you can still walk across it. I mean,
Yeah.
Heidi's dog walked across it, but then didn't want to come the other direction.
Yeah.
It does seem like there were more planks on it before. There was more than just two, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but Ebony was sad.
Yeah. Hi, Ebony.
You know?
I came back down your side of the road on the class 4, and it looks like they've been doing
You're
quite
welcome.
they've been doing quite a bit of work on that side. It
You're
looks
welcome.
good. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I'm saying, you know,
You're welcome. Nice new
take care of it.
culvert, lots of new
Yeah.
gravel. Yep, you guys are all set now with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, yeah, I wish it was more passable than it is. It's sad to see that part go.
Mm.
And it is a little bit, it's a little bit disconcerting for me that like we can
But
be responsible for like maintaining the roads, but then we can't block them off over here. Like I can't shut down this side of the hill
no.
and he can like take off the slats and just make it so people can't get across. That doesn't seem right to me, but
So people could get really hurt falling in that hole with a car that doesn't know the bridge isn't there anymore. That's my point too.
I mean, it does say in the agreement that we have with him that he says removal of current bridge decking and replacement with panels. So he has taken the panels off. So I guess he
Part of the state, you would certify that too.
part of his
His
agreements were that
Reconnect on the
he
bridge.
had panels on it. So
I mean, the intention of that though, Mark, would have been to remove them in order to put down the new bridge so he could get the big trucks over to do the work and then leave it the way he found it, right? I mean,
well, no, he
I
says
don't know.
he says replacement with panels. So I would assume the panels would stay. I mean, that's what.
I just sent Charlie a list of the Vermont DOT. It says what the panels have to happen. It's not down McGrady Road.
So
Yeah, I mean, the one thing this is telling me is that like we're now in a situation where our class 4 agreement is a little vague. So, you know, at a minimum, we should readdress the class 4 road agreement to kind of think about something like this in the future. Because again, we've never dealt with a situation where a class 4 agreement pertains to maintenance of a bridge structure.
I think that's the only. Yeah.
And it's compounded by the fact that it's on a road that we otherwise would not ever do anything on or support work on, just because of the policy that's written the way it is.
Can I ask questions?
Charlie, I would point out that is just a policy, that's not an ordinance. So it's not like a statute or ordinance or law, that's simply information for people, and that's the policy of the town.
Yeah, it's a good point, Merle. I guess I'd have to look into like, if you've had a policy on the books for X amount of time. Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know what the enforceable nature of this is.
Well, there is a statute here on the bottom that's.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple statutes. Yeah, there's a couple statutes. So at a minimum, I think we need to look at statute. Did you, Suzanne, did you want to?
Go ahead.
Hold on, one sec, Josh, one sec. Yeah, go ahead, Suzanne.
I was just curious for, like, I never go up there, but clearly Larry, Gabby, Josh, you all do. So if it was, since there's only, is it 50 feet beyond the bridge or 25 feet?
50 or 60 feet.
Okay, so if it's only 50 feet of motorized access beyond the bridge, realistically, would it be acceptable if a, you know, accessible, maintained pedestrian access was, you know, the requirement that was put in place for this
In
sort of
this case.
situation? Yeah.
Well, given that that's what the property owner is willing to allow on private property,
Right.
and if that were to be maintained safely, is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Then that would then allow the access that the landowner has deemed acceptable for his tract of property.
Right, and it would still enable safe passage that was, you know, like, I don't know if anyone would want to go up in those trails handicapped in a wheelchair, but, you know, if they wanted to get across that bridge, you know, would that be considered satisfactory to the civilians who use that?
I mean, we are looking at improving the trails in the town forest too, so people could go there.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking at,
Not to
That
ATV
project.
though.
not to ATV, but I mean to pedestrians.
You're saying just as another like
Another-
pedestrian
another
access
place
point.
But he
go.
also has his property for hunting and
Yeah.
skiing and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So-
Right.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that I'm capturing this. Like you're saying that the landowner is granted like public access for pedestrians, and so you're suggesting that if the bridge is maintained safely for pedestrian access, that
Would
would
that be
meet
accessible? Yeah.
the expectation of that we set forth.
Right.
Which is an interesting point, although I still do kind of want to like separate out the question we're dealing with from the property itself, if that makes any sense.
It's a property.
Because we could be dealing with a situation where that road could go to a property where the guy has it fully posted, guns blazing, stay the hell off. It could be a property that nobody talks about, right? I just want to make sure whatever we're doing, if we come up with a solution, that like we can apply it in other conditions
Okay. So
if it comes up, right? So like I don't want like the conservation easement, the fact that he is going to allow non-motorized access, all of that is like pertinent to the world, but like as far as our decision goes, I think I want to make sure that whatever we do is based in state law and our policies and following them. So I get what you're saying. I just want to make sure that whatever we do, because if we turn around to him and say, hey, you need to go back and deck the bridge and do it in a way that's a sustained bridge going forward, that's a level of work that there's an expense involved in that. And I'm not saying that like a landowner who takes over a road to maintain it shouldn't bear an expense, but it is an expense. So before we go back and demand something of them, I want to make sure that we have the ability and the right to do that, given the agreement.
Was it all right?
Was it all right for us to, this is Amy, was it all right for us to spend couple $100,000 on equipment and maintain this road? Nobody help us?
I mean, if your question is it
Charlie, let's get real, Charlie.
Well, I am, Amy. You just asked if it's within your right to buy the equipment and maintain the road, and it is within your right.
It is my right, but it's all right for everybody else to get a free ride up here. Not right. That's not right. And I'm sorry, Charlie, but then last week, Dave Burns went right up in our woods on his bicycle. Okay. I'm all for the four-wheelers. The bicycles have been harassing our dogs all summer. And it's all right for him to drive up in our woods because we used to let them have mountain biking rides up through here. We had $1 million insurance policy on this land in case anybody got hurt. But yet we're the jerks. I mean, come on. We've been good. We've been good to these people. We've been good to everybody in this town.
I don't think anybody's saying you haven't, Amy. And I think
come on, everybody treats us like shit. Look at the look on Emily's face. She's disgusted.
I'm typing, Amy. I'm just trying to capture what everybody's saying.
For over 30 years, we've done nothing but improve everything up here. And that's why everybody's up here. All these camps, they're all camps. The only permanent resident is me and Luke and Craig. Permanent. And now this guy across the road is begging Craig to take care of that class 4 road this winter. Guess what? We've had enough. You guys couldn't chip in. They would stop and ask Craig why we were picking stones. Why do you pick stones in the road that the class 4 road that we were taking care of? Why are we picking stones? Why are we, spreading gravel? You're making it worse. And all we did was make it better. And now you got all these people up here and they can't even chip in to help take care of the road. And they're writing fuck you assholes on our signs. And that, I mean, it's ridiculous. What now, ever since we stopped taking care of the road, we're being harassed.
Okay, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, Amy. I don't think anybody deserves to be harassed, and especially not somebody who's, given back so much to, the public access up there.
I mean, if you look into the money over the years that the town's collected off all these camps up here that have been in since we've been here, and not a goddamn one of them has given us a dime to help. I mean, it's kind of kicking the teeth, and then they turn around and harass us over it.
When Billy maintained that road, didn't we give him, wasn't there $1,000 a year he used to go on that road?
When Billy maintained it, not now.
Billy wouldn't touch this road when we started taking care of it because he knew we had the grade right with the grader.
Oh.
Okay, well, Amy, I appreciate what you're saying, and I'll say it again, I don't think you deserve to be harassed, and I think that everybody here acknowledges the amount of work your family's put into that road.
Yeah.
And, if you want to talk about your road there and the policy and how it's managed, we can have that conversation if you want to. I do want to bring us back to the conversation at hand around the Deep Ebu Road, though.
Well, right, well, so we will, so that's my point. What would you do if we started taking all the culverts out of the road that we put in? It's the same thing the guy's doing with the bridge.
Well,
But Amy, aren't you upset that you put all this work into your property and the roads, and you're saying people harass and abuse you for it? Well, don't you think Ethan has put all this work into trying to work on his property, and he had to block it off because he felt that traffic was abusing it? Couldn't you draw a parallel?
So before Ethan had it, it was still in land use, is what I'm saying. And yet there was a person in town running his business on there 10, 12 years, making profit off this piece of property out back that Ethan now has. And that's not right. We have to, our tax dollars go towards Ethan getting a tax break, correct? Am I correct? Somebody in town can run their business and make a bunch of money, and then and look at this guy broke our dog's legs. He was swiped my car. He was wrapped around my porch twice.
Wait, Ethan?
What is this?
Not Ethan, the guy that was running the business on Ethan's land before Ethan bought it from Atlas. It was still in land use, wasn't it? Atlas was still in land use.
So the property is and has been enrolled in the current use program, yes.
Yeah. But yet this guy, and everybody knew in town, this guy was running his business on this land that Ethan now owns, but before that it was Atlas land, but it was still under land use. And all our tax dollars pay for that guy to get, whoever owns it before Ethan, all our tax dollars paid for them to get a tax break on that land, correct?
So again, any land that's enrolled in the current use program sees a property tax reduction.
But yet this guy was allowed to run his business for 10 to 12 years on that land out there. I'm not going to name names, but you know who I'm talking about, Charlie.
I think I do, but so again,
he would go by here. He took a club and broke my dog's leg. He was wrapped around my front porch twice. He sideswiped my car. And that's not right. And yet I've never said nothing. All this stuff builds up over the years.
Okay. So again, I do want to bring it back to the question about the class 4 maintenance agreement. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I think the question here really is, given the agreement that we have in place and how it's worded, what the expectation is of the road maintenance, given that and our policy. Josh, you pointed out state statute in a couple spots. If you have sent me any emails about that, I haven't seen them, but please send me references for whatever you're looking at.
I sent them to your text. I sent them to your Facebook actually, because I don't have your email.
Okay, I will check those out. So what I again, I wanna make sure that,
I have another thing though. The only thing I care about that everybody keeps saying is that's a public place or that's a place for people to go because it's in the conservation or whatever. So what happens if an ambulance needs to get up there? They can't get across the town road. We're going to stop them from crossing the town road bridge because the ambulance can't get up in this place. There's all kinds of people up in there. We're going to stop emergency vehicles.
an ambulance, the access for ambulances and EMS equipment, we maintain to where there's houses, which is part of the class 4 road policy.
Yeah, but that's a class 4 road, and it's not. If the bridge isn't maintained, and you're telling me that that's in land use for people to go hunting, fishing, skiing, whatever, that means there's gonna be all kinds of people up in there, and we're not gonna go across that bridge for an ambulance to get to them. We're gonna have to hike 3 miles up in there. There's a perfectly good road. We can drive an ambulance right up in there.
Yeah, but Josh, there's how many thousands of acres in town that you can't get an ambulance to? I mean,
But I'm not saying the town needs to do it. I'm saying you need to tell the select board's job is to tell the town, the guy that put to fix the bridge, because you can't downgrade a bridge. It's against the rules. You can upgrade a bridge, which he did. He upgraded, he rejected, he upgraded. Mark was supposed to sign off on that according to the state statute. Mark's had been up there examining that, signing off on that, and then you cannot take it back afterwards because you cannot declass or downgrade a road.
Okay, Larry, I see your hand.
I mean, the policy does say that.
It's also public travel for another quarter mile past there. It's not just stopping at the bridge. Untraveled highways are still public highways. So therefore, it's not his land. Because you keep talking about how it's his land. It's not his land. He doesn't own it.
He doesn't own the right away.
Yep, Larry.
Larry, go ahead.
You sure? I want yourself, Josh.
No, I'm done, Larry. I'm listening to you.
No, you can mute yourself though. I've been up there since 1996. When I moved up there, the bridge was impassable. There was a lawsuit done by Roland Nichols against the town repair it. It didn't go through. I would say 80% of the time I've lived up there has not been a passable bridge. Skiers, snowmobilers, snowshoers, bicyclists, motor vehicles have always been up there without access by the goddamn ambulance. Okay, according to the V-Trans map, the class 4 road ends at the bridge. It's an unimproved road from there to part way to the first landing, not all the way. There's a blaze up there indicating where the trail even ends. So it is not a completely public access all the way to the waterfalls. From that blaze on, it's nothing but a skid road.
Okay, thanks, Larry.
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess what we
He's
need,
got a
we just
t-shirt
need,
too?
we need to look at the statutes and, or
He's
the,
just showing
you know,
it
and
now.
see.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
see where
So
we-
I think the next step, like you said, Mark, is to look at the statutes and make sure we have a solid understanding of where statute intersects with our policy, intersects with precedent. And again, my thing here is that I want to make sure that whatever the town does is backed up by statute, policy, and is enforceable in situations outside of this one. So, this is one case of something that's come up we never dealt with. And I want to just make sure that however we deal with it is something that we can then apply to any other situation that might come up in the future in a similar fashion. So I will try to do some digging between now and the next meeting to figure out exactly what our legal position can be here. And then also just as an
I
extension
do
of
have
that.
one other issue.
Okay, 1 second, Amy. And then as an extension,
Okay.
as an extension of that, we might want to revisit the class 4 road policy just in general, but we can get to that as like a step 2. Sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna shift to just general visitors now. So Amy, did you have something else?
I did. There's, as far as I know, there's one class 4 road in this town that is posted or appears to be posted. And that's not right. And it has been ever since you denied the people to discontinue that road.
Which ones?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I think the issue that if I remember correctly, the issue with that one is still that none of us could figure out exactly where the public road was when it goes through the meadow. And so, I guess I don't know if the road is, I don't know where the signs are, Amy, so you might be right. There might be a posted sign smack dab in the middle of the right of way. But my recollection was the issue with that one was we couldn't determine where the road was when it got to the meadow and then the opposite side of it.
That land is all surveyed now, and it's surveyed through, so you know where the road is. It's left and right are all surveyed. You can go if you go through now. I know what you're talking about too.
But they have, so
The signs mean nothing because it's public road.
on each side of the road, there's two posted signs facing the road, but if you go down through the road, and you can see it better when the leaves are off, they have all the posted signs facing towards you driving down, if you were to drive down through there. And not facing against the trees like, you know, a normal posting would be, or on stakes. They have it where everything's facing the road going down through there.
Okay.
So I guess,
I can go. I can take a look. I mean, we talked to landowners before about this. I haven't talked to them in a few years, so we're happy to look into it.
yeah,
And it's just been ever since. And then the other part too is where the covered bridge used to be. That's supposed to be, as far as I know, town property, where the bridge is and the abutments are, but they got it posted so nobody can go down to the brook.
Okay, again, I'm not quite sure, but I can certainly go look at it.
You know, Charlie,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've been quiet a lot of years, and I've only been vocal for the past few, just because, you know, we're tired. Luke had a stroke in 2019. We can't do it no more, but there's no reason for us to be harassed over not taking care of a class 4 road no more. And then when people can post it, well, maybe I can post this one, can I? They wouldn't like that, would they? You know, fair is fair. You know, that's the way I feel about it. And believe me, we've given more money to this town than them people or anybody else.
well, Amy, I mean, you built your own roads now. So,
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have to worry about our roads anymore. Thank you for all the work you've done on our roads. But you had to get out too, so.
We had to get out, but it don't, like I said, last week, Dave Burns was up on our property because we used to allow mountain bike races up here. We did. We had $1 million insurance policy up here.
Well, I mean, he understood it that, you know, he should have asked permission before he went on your property. I mean, that's.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you right now, and the next time I'm downtown, I'm gonna walk over to Melissa Haberman's and start looking at her flowers and see how she likes that.
Well, hopefully you told him that,
Okay.
yeah.
You know, right is right. I mean, hey, right is right. I know it's a big headache. I know everybody wants to grab their forehead. You know, it's just right is right.
Okay, Amy. Well, I mean, I think we would all support your right to control access to your property, and you know, as Mark said, appreciate all the work you guys have done up the road up there.
Amy, let me know when you go over to Melissa's. I want to watch this.
Well, I'll let you. You better be there. You better have your cell phone if you have one.
Okay.
Larry, you goofy bastard.
All right. Anybody have anything else for visitors outside of a class 4 road discussion?
Yes.
Merle, did you have anything for visitors today?
Hey, I think he's disgusted.
Okay, Merle, anything?
I think he's on mute, Charlie.
He just unmuted.
He's off, Amy. He's good.
No.
What is it, Charlie?
I asked if you had anything for visitors today.
Oh,
No, I was, the only thing I was really wondering is that, I guess the final plan for that streetscape, is that available yet?
Yeah, we're working to get that up online this week, and it's the draft. It's not the final one. It's the latest draft. So
Yeah.
I'm working to get that up this week on the website with the announcement for the meeting coming up in October. So that should be up on the website soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I got quite a bit of time, but, you know,
Yep.
maybe sooner the better. Yeah, and, I just would mention, Charlie, that, you can put my phone number on under the directory for listers. I think, as you know, I wondered why all you folks didn't have your numbers. I'm a firm believer that all public servants should be accessible to the public. After all, we work for the public and we should be available to them at all times, so.
Okay, I'll let Liz know she can put your number up there. Okay, appreciate it.
so you,
Put my phone number on there on the website if you like.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay.
Kip, did you have anything for visitors?
Yeah, I was just tuning in for the updates on the streetscape and wastewater projects. And I did notice that you had a date for the public meeting for the streetscape. Has one been scheduled for the wastewater project yet?
Not yet. So we'll talk about this in a minute, but no, there has not been a public meeting scheduled for the wastewater stuff yet. We're trying to get through a couple questions around easements so that we can get back to everybody with clear knowledge of what that's going to entail before we do that. We want to make sure we go back with all the information at hand.
okay, thank you.
All right, Larry, did you have anything else for visitors? Or Josh, anything else for visitors?
No, good, I guess.
Okay, thanks. Glad you were able to get on. All right, so we're gonna go to old business. So first item up here, folks remember the Snyder Corps, Eberly, they appealed the DRB decision that goes to the E-Court, Superior Court. We've been working with our attorneys to come up with a settlement for that. In front of you is a draft of what I've worked out with our attorney. We can go into executive session to discuss this if you want. My hope was that the board could just review this quickly and let me know if you have any questions or note any issues with it. This here, items 2A through 2O, basically reflect the stipulations the DRB would put on any short-term rental. I did run this by the chair of the DRB and she said that it was okay. Only tweak here is that the lodging house should read lodging establishment to mirror definitions. But if this looks okay to the board, I will go back to our attorney and ask him to basically present this as our offer to the landowner so that we can get this settled up and move forward.
So a porta potty is acceptable in our ordinance,
That would be,
okay.
yeah.
So what was the reason that it was declined if these are the parameters we're allowing?
At the time of the application, there was nothing regarding heat in the structure.
Yeah.
Which I believe was one thing that this is addressing.
And
I
I don't think they were gonna provide water for hand washing.
Yeah, that
That wasn't part of their
Yeah,
original.
and so item G addresses that
Yeah.
issue.
And I think
Does J, is that, I understand that that's to limit occupancy, but I don't think that that would necessarily do that.
because two paying guests could bring a
Could
family.
be me and my 16 children.
Yeah.
Okay,
I could be the paying guest.
potentially reword
Just two.
paying guests.
Yes,
Okay.
to a maximum occupancy
Two.
of
Two
two
occupants.
individuals.
Yeah.
Okay, specifics.
Was there a specific reason that they weren't willing to reapply as a campground site instead of a resident?
I mean, there was issues with That, but
that's that
also,
too.
we're taking a reapplication and this was an appeal,
Oh,
so,
I see.
Yeah,
so I can get back to him on more specificity on J. Is there anything else people note?
It, presumably this also means like then gray water disposal, yes?
Yeah.
With like state permitting,
Yes.
because it needs to be, is my understanding of
I
gray
mean,
water,
even
right? So I think that needs to be specified in there.
Okay, I can specify with, I mean, that was part of the conversation, specificity there, adding
Yeah.
permitting, okay?
yeah.
I can add the specificity to G, I can add the specificity to J, anything else?
Well, what about their own like waste removal, you know, like whatever they buy for groceries and that kind of stuff?
I mean, trash removal would just be handled the same as any other, I mean, the DRB doesn't stipulate trash removal
Okay.
but any other, yeah.
Does
the-
it have electricity?
No,
No.
Again, this is just trying to get, I mean,
they're gonna have to,
we are not making a judgment on who might stay in this place or what they might look for. It's more just we want to make sure that anything reviewed gets reviewed to the same standards. And that
Yeah,
was-
I guess I'm just questioning
I
like
think electricity,
C
yeah.
and as far as
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
I'm checking
Amy.
out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bye.
I guess C and D, like, I mean, typically in like a commercial
I mean, that's-
space, those have to be hardwired in as far as like state code for fire safety. They can't be battery operated, and so I think that like,
have electricity.
I think, I just like, what liability do we open ourselves up to if we're like, these things have to
Okay.
be, you know what I mean?
So
Like,
checking to see
I think
whether or
we
not a hardwired one is required per state code. Good.
right.
I can look at that. Yep.
Charlie, was there a monetary offer?
No, there is no this settlement does not include any kind of monetary offer.
No,
Thank you.
no.
Anything else in here that anybody?
Does our application, I'm sure it doesn't mandate for any sort of accessibility or anything, that's not really.
No,
No,
no.
compliance isn't.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, everything else looks
All right.
reasonable.
Well, I can go back to our attorney to get clarification on these points and get this redrafted. If that's
Yeah.
what folks, yeah?
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, great. Thank you for reviewing that, and I will get back with the attorney. All right,
Have we heard anything on the other one that's standing?
no, but I'm happy to share the communications from the landowner, if anybody wants some
For which,
interesting reading.
Okay.
for this situation?
No, this is another appeal that we have to the E-Court after the denial of the permit. All right, moving on to 5B, Streetscapes Project update. So the only update here is that we still are targeting the October 16th meeting, public meeting on that. I'm hoping to get the material together and up on the website this week. That's the announcement for the public meeting on the 16th, and supporting materials showing kind of the latest iteration of the plan based on the board's
So that's the
feedback.
most current draft.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
that's the last draft that this board reviewed.
Yeah.
Is that taking place
okay.
in this building?
It's going to be at the Grange Hall, I think.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. What time? Same
Yeah.
time? Or 6 o'clock?
Town hall.
I think 6 o'clock. Yes,
Okay.
6 p.m. Yep,
The town. Yeah.
at the town hall.
Yeah.
Town hall,
Yeah.
aka Grange Hall.
Mhm.
Yep. So that's the only update there. It is still being kind of workshopped through VTrans, so we might have some more feedback by that point. But at this point, no other actions are needed on our end. Wastewater project update. So still working through property purchases. I was hoping to have that kind of wrapped up by today, but have not been able to connect with the relevant parties that need to be involved in that conversation. In parallel with that, we are trying to determine from the state if we can get indirect discharge permits in place for the parcels that we want to buy. Basically what we said to them was, we need to outlay a significant amount of capital to purchase these properties. We don't want to buy them and then have these indirect discharge permits get denied.
Yeah.
I don't think they would, but basically
Wow.
we were saying if we can get those permits in place, or at least a provisional approval of them, it would be a good backstop before we go and try to buy them.
Yeah.
Because the last thing we want to do is drop, tens of thousands of bucks on a property and then not have it be permitted and then have a property that we need to do something with.
So was one of the issues the old town well in the village, or that's more of a private well now?
Yeah, no,
because
that was a
it's
question
been
that
just
came
had-
up. That question came up in relation to the hydrologic study
Yeah,
that she's doing with the town water system.
yeah,
And so she was trying to figure out what the status of that one was and how
yeah,
that played into that.
yeah, that was,
Yeah, so that was the question around that well.
yeah,
Because that's still, the reason it came up was it still showed up on the state's mapping
Yeah.
system as a public well.
yeah,
And that's why we're trying to determine what that
but
was.
it's not anymore.
No. But it does still service 2 residences, so
Yeah,
it is still active.
yeah,
Yeah. Only other things about the wastewater update were, I was hoping we'd have one of these to sign tonight, or review at least tonight. But the 2 kind of next milestones regarding the funding are going to be that we're going to get back the ARPA agreement from the state. This is basically an agreement that outlines the eligible cost centers to the 2.7 million the state's giving us through the state's ARPA funds. Again, this is not our ARPA money. This is state ARPA money, 2.7 million. We went through with them and developed basically a table that says all the eligible cost centers and when the expenditures need to be made by. Everyone has signed off on that. I'm just waiting on the final agreement to come back to us for signature. Thought we'd have it by today, but we don't. And then the next set of documents is just the next set of CWSRF. This is their Clean Water State Revolving Fund. The next set of loan docs from them to come down. Those ones I thought would be here maybe this week. Those we're not in a huge yank to get them signed, so we can wait and we'll get them when we get them. But that would be the next tranche of funding that would come in through that with the subsidies associated with it. So those are kind of the next 2 milestones from a funding perspective. But again, the next 2 steps are the property purchases with the indirect discharge permits approval in place for those before we sign off on them. Any questions from anybody or anybody on the screen? Hearing none, we'll jump to new business. There are no liquor licenses, there are no fleet permits. And that brings us through the end of our agenda.
I talked to Liz about the energy efficient audit for these buildings, and
Yep.
she said, I guess we're moved up to the top of the list, so hopefully it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
within a month or so. And they are gonna look at the 98 Main Street building too, at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yep.
Scott, we went in there the other day and the dehumidifier's been running all summer, and of course the sump pump's been running pretty much steady because of all the rain. And there is some mold in the cellar of that building. I think we need to determine after the energy audit what we need to do with that building.
Yeah.
I really
98
think
Main.
98 Main Street. I think we'll let them do the energy audit, but I think we need to now we're gonna heat it again for another winter.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah.
Did you notice that that bottom stair is like missing its decking?
On the
In the
front?
cellar?
Yeah, on the front of 98.
Oh, it is?
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, I
okay.
noticed that the other day.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean,
I
we
meant to tell you.
gotta keep maintaining
Yeah.
that building.
Well, right, you don't want somebody
Yeah.
to get hurt.
So I think we need to let the energy audit happen, and then
Yeah.
we need to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy audit has the potential to unlock quite a bit of funding to do work on the building.
Yeah, but at this point, I think the only way that building can be remodeled is the basement just be filled with cement.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they come back
Which
with
would
in
mean
the audit.
putting the utilities up in the
Amen.
attic, which would mean some
think
work
we're
there, so yeah.
Just throwing good money after money, bad. and so we'll see
Yeah,
what they come back with, but, I just wanna let you know that that's what's in the basement again.
yeah. No, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yep. And I think I have mentioned, you know, that the post office has said they want to come back, and that co-working space does want to move into the other side of that. Main roadblock there is just money and time to get the project done.
yeah.
But agreed, we got to figure something out because right now it's just taking money.
Yeah.
We're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
I will add, just as an aside, given with the building, I did contact folks at TD Bank and basically said, your ATM only works about 10% of the time, and if that doesn't change, we're gonna terminate your lease agreement. They did come back and say that they had a part needed to go into the ATM, which they said that they have now fixed, so that should work.
Did we ever fix the door?
Yeah, the doors,
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
doors
okay.
fixed.
Just got
Yeah,
the doors.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, just as an aside.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anything else for tonight?
I don't have anything else.
I don't think so.
All right, not hearing anything else, then a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion from Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Suzanne. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries and the meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good seeing you, Larry.
Bye, Larry.
Bye, Larry.
Bye, Josh.